Hi, everybody. Happy New Year's. We started out to record it and then tried to decide, let's do it live. So we had to go in and change some things. Um, is that for Jeff?
For Jeff.
Okay. Um, they're for the dogs. Anyway, hi, Helen. Welcome back.
Am I here?
You're
I
here,
haven't
and y'all will
seen.
probably see some freeze ups. We're waiting on parts to show up so my son can fix my computer.
It's not
I
my fault for a
apologize.
change.
This time it's not Helen's fault. It's mine. I will own it.
Sherry, I haven't seen that fancy introduction.
Isn't that fantastic? I still get goosebumps every time I watch it.
Yes. Yes. And I don't know that
Andrew,
final portrait of you at the end in that
well,
negligee. Was that a
that
negligee?
final portrait Michelle created. That was her
Michelle
digital
Marie?
artwork. Yeah, she did that
Oh, I
final
wonder if she can make me look
that
good.
final picture of me in a similar background. And then when Andrew from Androniki Skincare that I've gotten to be friends with, and we were chatting one night and I was bitching about I can't make the stupid things and make a video like I want to do for an intro. And he's like, well, send me what you got. Let me look at it. That's what I got back.
Wow,
And
it's beautiful.
I was floored. I was like, that's not what I sent you. He's like, it's close enough. And I'm like, it's not even in the same ballpark.
You know, I have tried for
So
several years with the YouTube approved generic Irish music, which is awful, and a YouTube approved photograph of a place in Ireland. Just showing the picture with the music, 2 seconds. That's all I want. Cannot get it to work. Cannot do it.
huh. Well, I
Don't
know
even.
with this one, even though he has a license to the music, it's on a share option. So every time I play it, I have to shoot a few pennies to whoever owns the music their way. So once he gets back into the states and gets settled in again, we're going to work on it, see if we can get the license that he has rolled over to me so that I don't have to do that anymore. But
Can't you get Lewis to just write you a little thing, a little bit of music?
probably, but that's like pulling teeth. he's
But it would
he's
be
so busy
free.
with his stuff, you know. Yeah, well, um, so Andrew did mine. He did one for Marina. If you catch any of her shows,
Yeah.
she's got her new intro now.
Oh,
Andrew
she's got
did that
this
one.
fancy thing. I feel like the poor relation. It's unbelievable. You guys are
I
fancy.
like I said, I got to be friends with Andrew, and we were just chatting on the phone one day, and I was bitching about it because I wanted to make a nice intro, and I just couldn't do it. What was in my head, I couldn't get out on the screen, and I had been working on it like most of the day when we started talking, and I was so frustrated. He was like,
Yeah.
"Oh, I used to do that for a living. Send it to me. Let me see what I can tweak." And that's what I got back. I was like, "Holy moly, guy! That's
Well, I'm beginning to embrace my lack of production value. That's kind of become my trademark. What can
that
I say?
works too." Yeah, whatever works, right?
So what's up?
Um, Sore throat, allergies, draining gives me sore throat. I'm a little bit growly today, y'all. Sorry about that.
I kind
And
of noticed, and you know,
it just my throat's sore because my sinuses have been draining.
ew, ew.
It's been shorts and t-shirt weather for like 2 weeks. First it was like 30 degrees outside, and we spent like 2 weeks freezing our asses off. Everybody dressing in 3 and 4 layers of clothing because we don't have winter clothing down here. And then it got hot again, like up in the 70s. So it was shorts and t-shirts. And then last
Wow.
night the cold weather decided to come back. So it's cold again now outside. So I made a big pot of gumbo today
Speaking of
for
which, can you hear my heater?
no.
Okay, good, because it's freezing. Yeah, good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
don't freeze on my account.
Mhm.
And
Almost
I hear the
used to it.
bird. Is the bird in the background?
Yeah, she's downstairs.
Okay, well I keep hearing her every now and again. I hear something
Yeah.
come through.
She can be noisy. She's usually very quiet, but when she hears me talking to somebody, she knows. She knows that I'm communicating with a person, and she goes crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly.
It's cute.
Well, hi everybody. Welcome to a last minute live pop up. Because when I sent it to Helen earlier, and I was thinking we'll just do a recorded show, and she put live on hers, and she was
Oh,
like, "Well, I
thanks.
put it as
Rat me
live,"
out.
and I was like, "Oh wow, okay." I didn't think about it. So I said, "Well, wait, let's back out, and I'll go in and change it to live." So I had to go in and redo it,
I
and
give up.
yes, Letha Beth, I made gumbo. I made a big pot of chicken and sausage gumbo today because it's just cold enough where it's like, okay, I need some warm stuff to eat. So, um, and so my son, he comes by, you got a cigarette? Here, take the pack.
Well, I have a very, very old house, and we have no upstairs heat. There's no heat at all up here. We have a wood stove downstairs. And so what I do is I have a water bed. I just crank it up and go to bed. It's not, kind of hibernate for 4 or 5 months.
Yeah. Well, I have one of those long rectangular heating pads. It gets real cold, and so I put that between the covers
Oh, that's a good
where my
idea.
feet go, so that when I get into the bed at night, at least my toes are roasty toasty warm.
My
And
grandmother taught me a trick that, she was born and grew up in the country, and it was before electricity really was brought to the
yeah,
country. And so she taught me this little trick, and it works great. If you're really desperate and you need something to warm your feet up at night, bake a potato, wrap it in foil, put it at the bottom of the bed.
oh, there's an idea. I never thought
And you
about that.
can, nowadays, you can just stick it in the microwave. You can have it ready to go in 3 minutes. It's wonderful. I've done it for feral cats that have been sleeping outside. I've put them out there for them to keep them warm. Yeah, it works.
Well, I got my handy dandy heating pad, so I use it. And that way I can keep it on. Well, I'll put it on when I first put it under the covers, like medium, and then when I'm ready to go to bed, I cut it down to just warm.
Get too hot. Yeah.
Yeah, because it gets
So
too hot.
Sherry, do you have uh, resolutions for the new year?
No,
I
I
do.
never have resolutions for the new year. I never keep them, so I quit making them.
Well, I'm the same way. It was always exercise more and eat less. What a joke. But I have a different resolution this year: survive.
We're soon getting ready to all be in our own episode of Survivor. Survivor Island, or whatever the hell the name of that show is. We're going to all be trying to survive. Hello to everybody in the chat. I didn't ignore you, but
Yes,
if
you
I start
did.
calling out names now, we'll be here all night. And I actually have an interview at 8:30 with Evelyn from Life After Life. Um, it'll be my third interview with her. So I'm like, oh, cool. Yeah. Anytime you want me, just say the words. So I'm meeting her at 8:30 to do not live. It'll be recorded, and then it usually takes about a week for her to edit and do what all she does to it before she posts it. And I'll let y'all know as soon as she sends me the link. But that's interesting. Uh, just like everybody keeps asking me for my predictions video, have I done my predictions yet? I'm like, I don't really do that. I'm just, I'm just not, I can maybe look at something a month or two in advance, and can usually get an idea, but predictions like for the year, that's not really my thing. Um, so as it is, I do for my members every month. I do a month ahead reading for the upcoming month, and so for January, I kind of twisted the questions a little bit to maybe make it a little bit more predictive. Got some really interesting results with that. So I've got to sit down and record it. I finally finished it. I've got like all my notes and stuff because I'll do the reading and then I'll write it all out and I'll go over it and I'll rewrite it out again, um, just to try to get my thoughts clear on it. And then I type it up so that when I'm saying it, I'm looking at it at the same area where the camera is, so I'm not doing this the whole time. And
Oh, you mean like this?
yeah,
I don't even know where to look. I don't know. I just do it, whatever.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I've got it. I rewrote it out twice. I've got it typed up. I finished that last night, and then I'll probably do a recording, uh, get it recorded tomorrow so that I can have it ready for Thursday, which is the first. And because Monday I go back to work. And
Oh, that's always
with the
hard after the holidays, isn't it? Would you have 2
and I
weeks
was
off?
so yeah, we got 2 weeks off.
Mm.
That's when campus closes, so we get that time off. Um, about about half of the time is covered under paid time off, and the other half comes out of whatever time off you've accumulated your PTO. Fortunately, I try to save up as much as I can throughout the year, so I don't have to worry about it at Christmas time. And I think there was a bunch of us. We were all so ready for vacation to get here. It was like I can't take another day.
Yes.
We were all
Yeah.
like counting down by like the last Wednesday just before we got off. We were all
Yeah, it's
like, "It's
hard.
not Friday yet. It's not Friday yet." And
Yeah.
so, especially since we all have the specter of layoffs over our head when we go back. So they're still talking about major layoffs. We just don't know who's going to get it. And so
That uncertainty is absolutely so traumatic. It's so
that's
stressful.
worse than just knowing that you're going to get laid off on
Yeah.
X date, you
Yeah.
know. And
I'm sorry. That's terrible.
so, well, many thanks to the illustrious current administration in DC and in our state capital of Baton Rouge, which is a MAGA guy.
Let's talk about your governor.
We yeah, who's now the new what do they call him for Greenland?
Envoy. He's the envoy.
Envoy.
When I saw that, I thought, oh my God, I have to talk to Sherry about this. This is priceless. They tried to find the most corrupt individual they could get their hands on who would be willing to do whatever it took to steal whatever they can from Greenland.
They found him.
Yep.
He's sitting in our state house. They found him. He has done so much damage to our state since he took office.
Yeah, but Sherry, Ken Paxton was busy.
At this point, he makes Abbott and Paxton look like saints. Yeah. It's mind-boggling the amount of damage that he's done. And now we literally, our state ranks 50th on all the major parameters they check of the states. And we always had the ability to hold our head up a little bit because at least we weren't Mississippi. Mississippi was number 50. Well,
the one you really have to worry about is life expectancy.
Well, we're now number one or number 50, as you
Oh
may want
my
to say.
God.
Mississippi is better than us at this rate. It's like, okay, I never thought I'd live to see that day. So uh, just Jesus, the amount of damage he's done, and every time I hear somebody bitch about it at work, all I can think to myself is, yeah, you voted for him. You got what you
Yeah.
voted for.
Yeah.
I don't say anything because I don't want to get in an argument, and I have to be kind of careful how I phrase it because these are very vindictive people because they're very thin skinned. I mean, they're all snowflakes, they can dish it out, but they can't take it.
That's true.
So you have to
Have
be
you
a little.
seen the videos on YouTube? I forget the name of the guy. It's his name and his wife's name. It's like Josh and Mary or Jack and Jill. I just don't remember their names, but they go on road trips and he maps out like a course that he's going to take, and he goes the back roads and he goes to all these tiny towns, and he does the towns of Louisiana, the towns of Mississippi, and state by state
I've
sometimes.
watched some of them, yeah.
And it's,
I enjoy watching them because they can't pronounce the damn towns right.
well, yeah, but for me, I think he does a good job of giving demographics. This is the percentage of age. This is how many people under 12 are living in poverty. This is the average price of a house, the average income. He does a really good job. He shows the list of when the city was first, or the town was first established, and what the population did during years and years. And it's
Yeah,
horrifying. It's horrifying. It's unbelievable.
yeah, yeah. Oh, absolutely. I mean, and down here, big oil and gas have pretty much had their sway over any definitive political actions in this state. So they're the ones with all the tax write offs and all the tax breaks, while the regular workers are the ones that are footing the bill for everything.
And while they pollute your environment, and then they go off to where they live.
Right. And
Right.
he's in the process of killing several really big business projects that had started that were going to bring in some areas, hundreds of jobs, in other areas, thousands of jobs, because they're based more on sustainable energy and that kind of thing. Um,
You mean
Helen,
like wind farms and those sorts of things?
yeah, yeah, that is solar
Yeah.
powered wind farms. You went
Right.
black, Helen. Where'd you go?
I'm still here. You went black.
Oh well, see, I see you. All I see is a black screen.
I'll
Can
go
y'all
away
see
and I'll.
this, or are we both black? Did we both
No,
turn
now
black?
I can see both of us. Do you want me to leave and come back?
Try that. See if it works.
Oh God.
I know it's gonna be one of those nights. Helen's coming back. She had to back out and come back in because we lost her. And she's back. Yay.
I feel like a magician.
Uh,
You know what happened on my end is suddenly all I could see was fireworks. We both disappeared. Then we both came back, but you couldn't see me. I could see
no,
both of us.
no, I couldn't see you. So that's why I was like, where'd you go? You disappeared. Oh God, I hope this computer gets fixed. If not this week, next week. We're just waiting on the parts to get here.
It's
And
so
hopefully
frustrating.
it doesn't require any other parts or it'll have to take a while longer.
I know it's not
It's
cheap.
parts is expensive.
At least you don't have to pay labor. When my computer died 2 weeks ago, I had to pay a couple of $100 in labor. It costs more than the part.
Yeah, yeah, it's ridiculous. Can y'all see both of us now? Are we here? Are we moving? Say something.
Oh, me?
Let me know.
Oh,
No, I'm talking to the
oh.
chat. if they can see us, if they can hear us. Can you see us? Are we here? Yes. Okay. We got one yes. Somebody can see us. Okay.
Somebody, yeah, well, that's all it takes. That's all we need.
Three
One
yeses.
person is
Okay. We got
enough.
4 yeses now. All right. All the yeses are coming in. Okay, cool. Um, yeah, because we got like 75 people in the room. So, wow.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. For a spur of the moment, that's pretty good, huh?
I'm telling you, I literally, I did it Chris, did I do it Christmas Eve, y'all, or Christmas night? I think I did it Christmas night. I just decided to do a pop up. I was bored. I was like, okay, let's see who's around. And I just did a spur of the moment pop up. And after about 15 minutes, I had several of my moderators saying, you need to close questions, Sherry. You're going to be here all night because it was just question after question after question. So I was like, oh,
Oh,
okay.
that's cool. That's cool.
So, but anyway, we were talking about predictions. So I've got some interesting results for January. I haven't really looked much further than that. I still keep seeing really, really bad storm season coming. I thought it was going to be this past hurricane season, but we got by with nothing. We didn't get hit by anything, which is weird. Um, so that scares me because that makes me feel like, oh, yeah, we didn't get hit this year.
Well, you can relax because it's here. We've had 4 steady weeks of rain.
And I
It's
was talking to Arthur the
miserable.
other night, and it was up to the bottom step outside of his apartment, going up to his apartment. He was like, if it keeps raining, I'm going to be bailing. I'm like, oh my God.
Well, I opened the back door to let the dogs out, and they stand up at the opening of the door and they look out and they turn around and go back in. They'd rather hold it till tomorrow.
Oh
It's
God, yes,
so
I know.
depressing.
If it's raining, the little dog won't go out. He doesn't like to get his feet wet. Um, it's like, dude, it takes you 5 seconds to go out there and pee and come back in.
Well, I'm with the little dog.
But yeah, if I had a choice, I wouldn't want to have to go stand in the rain to go pee either. But I can't walk around the house and just pee at will like he does. He doesn't have bladder control.
Although you probably sometimes you do accidentally. Do you get, you don't get like hurricanes, do you?
Oh yeah,
You do. Tornadoes?
yeah.
Ooh.
And because we are not that far from the Mississippi River, because that's in Baton Rouge, which is on the other side of the Atchafalaya Basin, which is about 20 miles long, the bridge for that. Um, the New Madrid Fault
Yeah,
runs
yeah.
parallel with the Mississippi River. And for the past couple of years, I keep seeing a major earthquake on that fault. Not out in California, but the New Madrid Fault.
It was the worst
the last
recorded
time they had a
earthquake.
major the last time they had a major earthquake on the New Madrid Fault was in the 1800s.
It
And
was the worst
literally
recorded earthquake ever.
it literally reversed the flow of the Mississippi River.
They felt it
The
in
river
Boston.
down into the Gulf. The river turned around and was flowing up.
They felt it in Boston.
Yeah, yeah. It was, and it wasn't just the shaking and the river reversing, but they were getting, and I forget what they call them now. It's like it's almost like dynamite goes off underground or something, and just in sand and dirt and water and whatnot just shoots up out of the ground.
Yeah. Like
According
Old
to
Faithful.
I mean, this was before iPhones, y'all, so nobody has a picture of it. But according to written letters and journals and stuff that were saved from that time, there were people talking about just the shoots of stuff coming up out of the ground
Yeah.
and everything and suddenly what was level ground and this way or that way, and uh, whole lakes disappearing because suddenly they're now above their level and all the water from that lake disappeared, and other areas that were farmland and stuff suddenly became the new lake. And
Underwater, right? Have you ever been in an earthquake?
no,
Oh my God.
I am terrified of that thought.
Yeah,
It's
there
the
are
only
threats.
reason why I didn't move to California when I first went out west
Well, an
was because
earthquake
I
can
was
happen anywhere.
petrified of earthquakes. I was like, I don't know what it's like hurricanes, they're coming. You can prepare for them. You know it's on the way. Usually you got a week, 2 week notice. It's headed your way. Start getting ready.
Not
And
anymore.
ready for that sucker once it gets there. And tornadoes, granted you may not have a very big window of time, but with radar and all of the the ways that they're able to track weather now,
Not
they can
anymore.
pretty much tell. Well, not here. We have to rely upon European models because the current occupant
That's right.
has shut down the American models and the American people's weather stations to
Yeah, they
monitor.
just closed that big facility in Colorado.
Yeah, because we don't need that stuff. Why waste money on that? Um, so now we have to rely upon the European models and the South American models and stuff to track a lot of this stuff because they've shut all of our stuff down,
I know.
which is terrifying to think about. But I mean, at least with tornadoes, you see the big storms coming. You know what kind of supercells are going to produce those kind of storms. And so you see one coming, it's in your general vicinity, to kind of get ready. So when that alarm goes off, you can go to your basement or go run and jump in your bathtub with a mattress over your head and pray like hell you don't end up 3 states away in a tree somewhere.
Let
Um,
me tell you a funny story. One of my daughters went to college in Dallas, which was so different. They gave her a scholarship. She went where she got the money. So she went to this little private university in Dallas. It was all religious and it was really tough for her. She called me one day crying. She was in her bathtub. She says, "Mom, the sky is green. There's a there's a tornado coming. What should I do?"
It's
I
the
said, "Well, what should
weirdest
you do?"
colored sky when that kind of weather, especially in Texas. I've not seen it as much in Louisiana, but in Texas, yes, I spent a good portion of my childhood living in Texas. When that kind of weather comes and a tornado is pretty sure you got one heading around you somewhere, the sky gets this really kind of sickly yellowish green color, and it's like somebody's like watching TV and somebody's flips a filter down over the TV screen and makes everything kind of a yellowy green color, almost like a see-through puke color or something, and it's like,
Yeah,
oh
yeah,
shit,
like baby
what's going
poop.
on?
I'm from Ireland. I grew up in Southern California. What do I know about tornadoes except
Yeah,
I've seen the Wizard of Oz for, a number of times. That's about it.
yeah.
Oh my God. So instead of her having a panic attack in the bathtub, both of us were having panic attacks because there was nothing I could do. It was horrible. She
Aaron,
survived.
it is called NOAA, NOA. It's the National Organization,
National Organization of Atmospheric Science, I
Atmospheric
think.
and Science, something like that. Yeah,
Yeah.
and they pretty much have shut them down. They're on
Yeah.
skeleton crews.
Yeah.
That's why, like when they had that big flood that killed all those kids in Texas over the beginning of the summer, why did that happen? Was because the facilities that would have let people know y'all need to get the hell out of there. They're seriously like leave now. They were all they were all shut down, and the 2 stations that were still up and running, they were only running half a day because they didn't have the
Funding. Yeah.
people needed
Yeah.
to keep it running 24/7. And so someone would go in, work their 8 hours, and then get sent home. And the rest of the time you're on your own. Good luck. And therefore, you had all those children die because there wasn't anybody there to tell
Yeah.
them, get out and get out now.
Yeah.
And uh, hurricane, somebody said something about it could be a low grade hurricane and still do a lot of damage. I have seen Cat 2 and Cat 3 hurricanes do more damage than a Cat 5 hurricane because they're moving really, really slow, or they're really, really heavily laden with rain clouds. Some hurricanes, especially the big ones, they come through and they go right on along their way. There's a lot of damage in the path, get a lot of water, but it's there and it's gone, you know. But these little small ones, they just kind of like tiptoe up and down the coastline. And they may bump up a little bit, bump up a little bit, but they'll stay out in the Gulf where it's warmer. And as the Gulf gets more and more warm, those little storms are fewer and far between
There's
because now
bigger ones. Yeah.
they're turning into bigger storms.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's what hit Houston so bad several years back with Hurricane Harvey. It was like a Cat 3. I think at one point it was up to a Cat 4, but that didn't last long, and that's based on wind speed. But it was like it just sat there right right on the coast, like right off of the water, half on, half off the water there, Houston, just south of Houston. And it just sat there. And because a hurricane goes clockwise, no, it doesn't. A hurricane goes counterclockwise. If that southeastern quadrant is still sitting in the water, that northeastern quadrant, that's where all the water's getting dumped. I mean, it'll work its way back around, but you don't get as much water damage on the west side of a hurricane as you do on the east side of a hurricane. And I think I said that right. I could be backwards on that.
Well, I have no idea. I've never, I mean, I don't, you could say anything and I believe you.
And it's not, a lot of times, it's not even the wind damage that does all the damage. It's the storm surge. Because
Right.
as it's rotating, it's sucking all that water up on the coastline and
Yeah.
out into the Gulf, and it's sucking it up, and then it lets it loose, and you'll get a wall of water that just comes in.
Wasn't it a hurricane that destroyed Galveston a long time ago?
Yeah, in 1904. That was before they named him. The 1904 hurricane. It just about wiped out the entire. I think there was only like a couple of buildings left standing, and it wiped out, if memory serves, something like 85% of the people that lived there, because they didn't know what was coming.
Yeah.
That was before they had any means of tracking that kind of storm. And so things people did thinking that they were making it safer for themselves was actually worse. It was like the worst things you could have done. It was the same after World War I, when you had all of these veterans that were, shell-shocked veterans that couldn't find work, and we were starting to trip into the beginning of the reset of the depression before it hit, and they were they decided that they wanted to expand down into the Keys in Florida, and so they built. It was before the big causeway from the mainland to the Keys. There's like this huge causeway that goes across the between where the
You mean
Atlantic,
the world's scariest road?
one of them, yeah.
There's no way I'd ever go on that road. There's no way.
I've never been down that far. I mean, I've known people that drive it all the time, but it's not like way up in the sky or anything. It sits pretty low.
No, it's right by the water. No, thank you. No.
But before the causeway was there was train tracks that went down there so that the train could go down
A train
and
went
come
on
back.
that thing?
Well, it wasn't the bridge that's there now. It was the original structure was railroad.
A train
And yeah,
connected those?
yeah,
Oh my
yeah.
God, I can't
They had
even
they had
imagine. Oh my
railroad.
God.
And so you had a lot of these men that took the train and went down there to
Right.
help with the startup of building of the causeway
Oh, okay.
and building up of the keys. And radar was still kind of like really brand new. And so a lot of your meteorologists really didn't understand how to read it, of what it was seeing. And of course, the radar at that time was not like we see today. But there were a couple of meteorologists who had recently just spoke with some of the Caribbean islands that hurricane had hit, to say, "Oh my God, you got to get your people out of there. This thing's a killer, and it's headed right at you." Well, you look out, and you may see some dark clouds off in the distance, but you don't. It doesn't look. It's not this big menacing thing coming at you until it's on top of you, and then it's scary as hell. Um, and so the information got sent to the couple of meteorologists in Florida that got a feeling they knew what was coming, and they were like, "We got to do something." But they couldn't get the head honchos in Washington to do anything because their meteorologist was telling them that's false information. They're not reading it correctly. They don't know what they're doing. Nobody knows how to read this new radar correctly, right? Because it was coming from the islands and wrong colored people down there to tell
That's
them
right. That's right.
how to read the radar. And so when they finally, one of the head honchos came in, took one look at what was the messages and the radar, and went, "Holy shit, this is bad." And he sent messages down, "Get those people out of there." So the train, it did the turnaround to go back to the mainland. And as it was going across the water, they got hit. That's when they got hit with the first section. Because with a hurricane, if the eye's passing over you, you get with that first wall of just horrific wind and rain. And then you have this respite where it's like bright blue skies, and you can see the storm around you, but there's nothing where you are. And so a lot of people, before they knew better, would walk outside and go explore and go help their neighbors try to pick up, thinking, "Oh, it's over." Okay. No, because now you got the backside coming in. And it's worse than the front side because it's got more water that it's bringing with it. And as they were trying to leave to go back to the mainland, it hit and the train got knocked off the tracks. And there were a few tracks left. Most of the tracks were taken out too, but it was right in an area where you had the Atlantic, and there was one of the big lakes right there. And so these cars went off and went over, started sinking, and they couldn't get out. They couldn't get out of the cars. They were trapped. And I mean, there were some survivors, but a good portion of them did not make it. And it was, I mean, there are writings and newspaper articles and letters and stuff from that time talking about just the smell alone of rotting bodies.
Oh,
That
oh,
Florida sun
yeah.
in summer, I mean, think about what that would smell like.
You know what
And
this reminds me of? Are you familiar? Now I'm going to get my facts all wrong because I didn't look this up. I read about this years ago. There
I
was
probably just screwed a bunch of stuff up too, fact wise. So
oh yeah,
don't feel
facts.
bad.
So there was this explosion, and I think it was in Halifax, in Nova Scotia, right? Am I at the right place in Canada? And there was some ship in the harbor that had explosives. I don't remember the details. I think it might have been related to World War I, but I'm not entirely sure. And it exploded, the whole town, basically. You know, not 100% of it, but a huge chunk of the main bad time to be enjoying a late dinner.
Sorry.
Anyway, it was
I was in the medical field for 30 years. I can talk about and listen to this kind of stuff while I'm eating dinner, and it doesn't even faze me. And people are like, "Oh my God, how can you do that?" I'm like, "What?" Just
I'm getting a little more squeamish as I get older, but talking about big disasters and stuff doesn't freak me out, you know, the way some people just can't even hear it. Anyway, it exploded a huge chunk of the town. There are a lot of first-person narratives of people who survived, you know, lately in the 3-ish range. Where's San Ramon? Where's that? Is that California?
I would think. Is that in California, y'all? Where is San Ramon? I don't know where that is.
Maybe it's in
Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, under wind advisory until 12 p.m. tomorrow. So, I mean, last January, a year ago, we opened the door on one day in January to a freaking blizzard outside my front door with a foot of snow built up. I had never seen or experienced anything like that in my entire life. And there's a whole shit ton of videos and shorts on my channel of me freaking out about the damn blizzard. We got hit with a 100-year snowstorm.
Did you have to go to work?
No, they shut all the roads down.
Yeah, you couldn't get anywhere.
We didn't even have the equipment to clear the roads. We had to call it north and say, somebody send us snowplows. It took several days before the snowplows got down here.
See, I live in a very small town.
The first day and a half, it was sideways blowing, like a gale force winds, snow going sideways. And I remember standing on the patio going, "Oh my God, I cannot believe what I'm seeing." I had never seen snow like that. Never. I'd never seen a blizzard. I'd never seen more than maybe a half inch of slush that lasts for maybe 30 minutes on the ground, like it does down here. We had a foot, I measured it, a foot of snow outside our door for a week. And it was only down a few inches after a week.
I'm surprised it didn't melt faster than that. But, you know, I live in a small town and they don't have money. So although we get snow, they don't clear the main roads. I mean, they clear the highway, but they don't clear the city roads. And so even a little bit of snow shuts down everything. But that's very similar to where I grew up in California. It rarely rained. And if it rained, traffic got shut down. They closed the roads because they were slick, like they had an ice coating, but it was oil.
They're calling it the Great Blizzard of Louisiana. That's what they were originally calling it. You can go online and Google it and see all kinds of videos and pictures. Somebody sent their drone up like a couple of days into it in New Orleans that could fly over and look down at like Bourbon Street and all that area, and everything was just encased in white.
Had you ever seen snow fall before?
Not like that, no. I mean, we get every couple of years, we'll get a light dusting. Maybe an inch will hit the ground and last an hour if you're lucky.
I had no idea you guys ever got snow, ever. I would never have guessed.
Once, it's like every few years, we'll get like a weird little cold front that'll come through and it'll dump some snow on us. But it usually melts before it even hits the ground, you know, and you just get icy slush on the ground. But this was, I mean, and like I said, there are videos on my channel you can go watch. This was literally, I woke up. I knew that we weren't going to be going to work that day because they knew bad weather. They'd already shut everything down. And I woke up and I could hear my guys outside on the patio. And it was like 6 a.m. And I'm like, what the hell are they doing up at this hour? Nobody's going to work today. And I got up in my nightgown and my slippers. And that's all I had on. I opened the door to step out. and there was a good 4 inches of snow on the patio built up. The guys are standing there with their phones, they're filming, they're tripping out and stuff, running out into it and coming back. And I remember walking out going, oh my effing God, what is
Yeah.
going on?
Yeah.
And my guy walked around and said, it's a blizzard. Isn't that cool? And I'm like, what?
Shocking. It's shocking. I was 25 before I ever saw snow. And it was
Well, I was
shocking.
64.
No, I mean, like falling from the sky. I mean, I just didn't know what to make of it.
After the first day and a half, when the blizzard finally stopped, and I mean, it was like a blizzard for a day and a half, just blowing sideways. It was unbelievable. And then it was just falling. But we never had the heavy, wet snow. It was really light and fluffy snow that stuck to everything. If you touched it, it was all over you. Um, it was like trying to walk through mounds of powdered sugar, the way it stuck to everything. Um, but it was the wildest thing in my life. I've never seen anything like it. I think the grown-ups in this area got more excited than the kids did. I mean, people were pulling P-rows out of the back shed and Rubbermaid lids and garbage can lids and whatever they could find to some of the little hilly areas around town to go sledding and stuff. One guy in one of those small towns outside of our city, he went and got his big old John Deere tractor and hooked up some kids' snow skis to the back of the tractor, and he was driving up and down so the kids could ski up and down the street, and it was a trip. People were flipping out over it, and just like I said, the grown-ups had more fun with it than the kids because you know they'd never seen, they 50s, 60s, 70s. They'd never seen anything like that before. It was just wild.
So you're predicting that bad weather in January? Is that what you're saying?
I hope to hell not. I don't think I want to go through another snow event like that. That was kind of good for my life, and now I used to always say one of these days I'm gonna go to Montana for a week in the middle of winter and just
Oh no, I've been to Montana. You don't want to go to Montana for a week.
I've got family that live up on the side of a mountain in Montana, and so I always see their pictures, and I'm thinking one of these days I'm gonna just go up to Montana. I'm gonna go spend a week with my cousin up on the side of the mountain and experience what this thing called snow is, and then I'll be good. I don't have to do that anymore because I got to experience it a year ago.
At home without having to drive in it. So what's the one thing you think that's the most significant thing that might happen this year?
I think we're going to see a lot more tornadoes because
Oh, I don't mean weather. I don't care about weather. I don't go outside. So unless the house shakes.
I do see more tornadoes coming, and they're not going to be fun, y'all. So just be aware and be careful.
No, I mean event of any kind.
Event-wise, I think the biggest thing that I keep getting hits about and I keep seeing is losing more rights. We may even lose our right to vote, or at least to some degree. They've already been pretty successful at a lot of that, but it's going to get worse. And just I keep seeing people literally taking to the streets over healthcare and the lack thereof because of what they're doing about it. And that you've got a whole lot of people who got used to having at least some form of healthcare. Even if it wasn't the best in the world, at least people could go to the doctor and get medication. You had a lot of people that were able to qualify for Medicaid on the Medicaid expansion and get health care for the first time. It's like they yanked my son off of his. So it's like, if he has another heart attack, I don't know what we're going to do.
Well, 12-hour waiting in the emergency room of our little hospital. Average waiting period, 12 hours. to
Yeah.
get seen.
If you even still have a hospital in your area.
That's right. That's exactly
There
right.
are a lot of rural hospitals and a lot of rural clinics are already getting shut down because they can't afford to operate because all their funding's been cut.
That's right.
Thanks to Doggy Pack and all of their crap they pulled at the beginning last January. Um, and you've got, I just, I keep seeing, I mean, people think we've been marching and are pissed off now. Wait until you can't get medicine for your kid who's got cancer, or you get kicked out of the hospital and they can't give them treatments anymore because the insurance is gone. Or, you've got problems with your heart or heart defects or hereditary heart disease or something like that. And suddenly, oh, well, too bad.
Well, the
You know,
tables are going to
you
be
get to the
turned.
doctor, you can't get the medicine, you can't do anything about it.
That's right.
Um, and you're going to have, I mean, they thought that medications, things like opiates and that kind of stuff was bad on the black market. They ain't seen nothing yet because they start cutting off the avenues. You're going to have people selling diabetic medicines on the street and people with advanced diabetes, not type 2, but the type 1 that have to take shots and stuff, that are going to be going down the street to the local drug dealer and trying to, and hope to God that the vial they buy actually has the medicine and the right amount in it.
Do you remember the times just very recently when people in, let's say, Russia or Azerbaijan or someplace would have a brain tumor and they would need surgery and there would be no hope for them, but an American doctor would go over there and do some surgeries for free? There have been documentaries about that. It's going to be reversed. Yeah.
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 Yeah. You're going to have, there are going to be a huge increase of young women dying from pregnancies because they can't get the proper prenatal care or postnatal care that is necessary for their health and the health of their child. We've already lost quite a few young women
I know.
to sepsis and other types of
Hemorrhaging.
because the fetus has already passed.
Yeah.
And the doctors can't take it out. And so they're having to cart around this dead carcass inside their body, which then starts breaking down
decomposing.
into,
Yeah. People
and
don't understand. I mean, I'm not a doctor. This is not medical advice, but the reality is that abortion care, it does not always have anything to do with deciding to have or not have a baby. It's a treatment. It's a procedure. It's a therapeutic procedure for a variety of different problems. And you die if you don't get it.
Exactly. And I think what has always infuriated me for so long has been the level of lying about what abortion care or pre or postnatal care may involve with ectopic pregnancies or uh, early stillborn, well, not stillborn, but the fetus not surviving.
Miscarriages, fetal death.
They're now arresting women for having a miscarriage.
I know.
There are some states, especially down here in the South, where they are actually charging women who have had a miscarriage and putting them in prison.
And that's ignorance. That's just ignorance.
It is. It is not just ignorance, it's malicious ignorance.
Well, it's misogyny, right?
Those who know better continue to propel the misinformation
Mhm.
about what causes it and what those procedures do to protect the living, breathing mother, that what her life is forfeit now. So she's got to leave her other kids orphans to then be.
Well, I think, we could debate that all day, Sherry, but the reality is it's
Yeah.
nobody's business. It's nobody's business
Right.
but your own.
But you and your doctor. It shouldn't be between anybody but you and your doctor. And it's the it's the ignorance of people who refuse to learn the medical issues and what would make someone make that decision that this is what we need to do. Or in extreme emergency care cases where the doctors are like, we have to do this,
Well,
or
it's
we're going
men
to.
dictating to women, and I feel like when they have a problem with their uterus, then they can talk.
Right, right.
I hate
I
to be
mean,
crass, but the reality is it has absolutely nothing to do with them, because ultimately, no matter how closely related they are by genetics or how closely related they are by emotion, ultimately it's only the woman's decision.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, when it all comes down to it, it's your choice. What are you going to do?
Sure.
Um, you know, I have known personally husbands who have lost, or men who have lost their wives and or daughters and or sisters and or mothers because of something serious like this, and they can't get the care that they need to protect their lives. And a week later, they're having to make funeral arrangements. It's like, how is that in everyone's best care?
Well, but okay, the question is really not that. The question is, uh, how big of a misogynist is the person in charge? Because this is sadistic, it's intentional, it's malicious, and
Yeah,
it's ultimately misogynistic.
yeah. But I see a strong upgrade of the amount of deaths
It's
by
already happened. It's already
childbearing
happened.
women,
Yeah.
but I mean on a level like even beyond what we're seeing
Yep.
now. It's gonna like just exponentially go off the charts.
It's shocking. Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
and it's going to be where there's not going to be one family anywhere in this country that hasn't had someone closely related to them or a dear friend that this has happened to. Same like it started out when people first started learning about cancer. And now we're at the stage, for a while there was a period of time where there was not any family in this country that didn't have somebody they knew who died from cancer because there was no treatment for it.
Mhm.
And because of the research and all this, the trials and clinicals they did, and everything that helped them learn about the different types of cancers and how best to deal with them, that it's not as predominant as it was for a while. I mean, my grandmother, who got cancer in the late 70s, and uh, by the time they discovered it, she was too far gone. We knew she had maybe a year if we were lucky. And the doctors asked her if she would be willing to be a guinea pig and let them experiment with things that are now standard procedure things when people first get diagnosed with cancer. At that time, it was radical, untested,
Yeah.
extreme things to do. My grandmother said, "Yeah, I'll be a guinea pig." And so, we watched the chemo and the radiotherapy and all the stuff that she went through, and her hair falling out, her teeth falling out, and this and that and the other, um, doing things that now don't have the same adverse reaction.
Well, they've learned how to
Because
moderate
they've
them.
learned how to
Yeah.
moderate it,
Yeah.
and they've learned what does and doesn't work and how you
Yeah.
can combine the two depending on the type of cancer that you have.
Oh, they have new drugs.
Yeah. I mean, and I'm proud of the fact that while it was really horrible that my grandmother went through that, and it was horrible to watch her go through it, I
Yeah.
also have that pride of knowing she willingly put herself in those clinical
Yeah.
trials, knowing she wasn't going to survive anyway. So they were basically just testing different things on her to see what the reaction would be, you know.
Yeah. That takes
Yeah.
remarkable courage. Yeah. Because
Yeah.
she could have gone a little easier if she hadn't had to suffer through all of that.
Yeah. She probably would have gone sooner than she did. I think some of it kind of helped extend it out. And when it came down to the end, and she kind of went into this comatose type state, and the doctor started talking about, well, we can hook her up to this and we can do that, and get another 3 to 6 months. And my mom said, unplug her, I'm taking her home.
Yeah.
That's
There
basically
comes
what
a
she
time.
told the doctor. She told the
Yeah.
doctor, unplug her, I'm taking her home. If there's something you can give me to give her to help ease the pain as best as we can, she's going to go home and die in her home with her family around her. And that's what
Yeah.
we did. My mother spent a day and a half going to every pharmacy in town before one of the pharmacists finally told her, you have to go to the hospital to fill that prescription, because the doctor had written her a prescription for morphine in suppository form. And that was the only way we could get medication into her.
Yeah, they do that because sometimes it causes nausea, and then you don't have the drug in your system to,
We couldn't eat or drink anything anyway. It was just,
Yeah, yeah.
by the time we got her home, and uh, she lasted maybe 4 or 5 days. It wasn't long at all. She didn't eat, she didn't drink, she didn't do anything. I mean, she just
She shut down. Yeah,
comatose person
yeah.
sitting in the recliner. Um, but it was always gave us all a sense of pride of knowing that she willingly
Yeah.
became a guinea pig for them to figure out what does and doesn't work, how much to give.
Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
If you knew that there was somebody who was a match to you who needed a kidney, would you donate a kidney?
If they would take mine, yeah.
That's, well, all things being equal. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I would. We only need one to function, technically. Um, as someone who is currently taking kidney medication to prevent from going on to dialysis,
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that. So that really is a question, like,
in
flipped for you.
reverse for me. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you think
I mean,
that you would
what
ever
happened? I
face?
mean, so far the medication seems to be working pretty good. Um,
Would you be willing to have a transplant?
if that was my only option, absolutely.
Well, a lot of people wouldn't.
No, I would.
There, there are people who have religious
I'm not
objections.
ready to roll up the streets and kick it off and say goodbye. I,
No,
I
no, I
told
hear
my
you,
son,
but there are
I
people who
told my
wouldn't
son, I said,
necessarily.
if I'm at the point where the only reason why I'm still breathing is because they got me plugged into machines, pull the freaking plug.
Yeah.
End of story. Pull the plug, take me home,
This is
take me
a
out
cheery
back
little
to
end
me,
of the
put me
year
out of my
conversation.
misery. I mean, my son was
Yeah,
like, I can't do
yeah,
that. I'm like, yeah, you can.
yeah.
I said, I'm not going to see you straddled with debt that will follow you
Oh, don't
your
even talk about it. Yeah.
you know,
What
because
about a heart transplant? Would you consider a heart transplant?
yeah, because I've seen the good it can do with a very close family member who had to have open heart surgery at 8 days old. And
Yeah, 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 yeah.
yeah, and because they were successful in that, this person has not had to go through any additional surgeries because they were able to go in and repair the damages. But that was, and it's still kind of in the back of our minds that could change at any given moment.
Right, right.
But
Do you remember DeBakey and the art, when they did the first heart transplants? Do you remember that? Oh, I'm older than you are. I remember.
Well, there was a long time I didn't pay any attention to that kind of crap. I didn't care.
I was in high school, so you were probably still in grade school. I was in high school, and it was mind-boggling. It was such a experimental, shocking thing to do. They hooked this one poor guy. They did a transplant, and then they had to hook him up to a machine, and it didn't last very long, longer than they expected. I think he lasted a month or so, but I remember the count every day. He's still alive. He's still alive. And it was really, really shocking.
Back in the late 80s, probably my husband's closest best friend, wonderful guy, married, had 2 kids, they had finally bought their own house. They bought a little wood frame 2-bedroom house, and they were proud of because they owned a house now. And he worked offshore. And in his younger days, before marriage and kids and all that, he was into a lot of really bad stuff, drug-wise, but had been clean for at least 15 years, if not longer. And he woke up one morning and his hands were kind of really swollen bad. He couldn't figure, why are my hands all swollen? Got up the next morning and all of his fingernails had turned black. And his wife freaked out, said, we're going to the emergency room. And they took him to the emergency room. They immediately admitted him. The first thing they had to do was put him on dialysis. His kidneys had shut down. And I remember we got to go see him twice. He was in the hospital maybe a week and he was gone.
Yeah.
It was that fast.
Well, remember we talked about the tables being turned, treatments in the US and other places. So in the 60s, the mid 60s, my mother had a cousin in Ireland and she married a guy and they had 3 little kids and he went into kidney failure. And they actually had a board in Ireland for the whole country that decided who could and could not get dialysis because they only had one machine.
Oh my God.
And here's this young, healthy guy, because this came out of the blue.
Yeah.
Early 30s, 3 small children. He died. They didn't give him dialysis. He died.
Yeah.
He didn't get picked.
Yeah.
That's not that long ago.
No, it's not. I mean, I was born in 61, so mid 60s, I was just getting ready to go into school.
Well, I was busy listening to Sgt. Pepper, but
I probably listened to it too, but that's just because older cousins were listening. Yeah, I mean, all through the 70s, through the 70s, it was dealing with my grandmother. And then in the 80s, it was dealing with, because my husband had gotten hurt just before we got married. We got married in 83. And so it was kind of my introduction into the medical field and dealing with things from that end, not from being sick, but from being injured. And the fights are similar but different.
Yeah.
And of course, his good friend Bobby was gone in a week. I mean, that just blew everybody away. I mean,
yeah.
It was so fast. And there was some special medication that the doctors were really convinced were going to help. And he couldn't get it because his insurance company wouldn't pay for it. And
oh my God.
And he was in the process of trying to negotiate with the pharmaceutical company that made it to get him get them to put him on the trial thing,
Right.
the medication to him, and they called. I think his wife told us they called the day after he died to say he had been approved, and they would be able
Oh
to start the
man.
medication in a week. And she said, he died yesterday. You're too late. And she hung up the phone. And I don't know
There's
how.
a special section in hell for
Oh yeah,
insurance companies, corporate executives, and they're going to claim absolution in a few years, and it's happening now already, where they're not making the decisions, it's AI, and there won't be anybody to be held accountable, right? It's all programmed and numbers, algorithms. There'll be a special place in hell for anybody who goes along with that system,
yeah,
because
yeah.
it's inhumane. It's
It really
unbelievable.
is.
Yeah.
For us being the richest country in the world, uh, it is not only insulting but embarrassing on every level that we literally have people that die every day because they can't get medication or they can't get to a doctor.
That's
You
right.
know, so I have another one. Yeah. Uh, so
You have to go.
it, it's really no. My son was asking me something. Uh,
It's embarrassing. Well,
there's
it's a
no there's no excuse
a
for it.
moral stain. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
appalling. Yeah. There's no reason.
And it's like the pharmaceutical guy that got gunned down and
It's
died.
terrible.
And that's not the way to handle it. That was
What good to,
horrible.
yeah, that's no good. That's
But
stupid.
I can see from the other side the perspective of why you would do that. That
Well,
level.
anger and frustration and grief and
And being
stress.
talked down to like you're
Yeah,
a stupid idiot because you're saying we need this
I know.
and you're not a doctor and you're going to tell us that it's not necessary for this treatment or
Yeah,
this medicine and
yeah.
you have a MD, um, what gives you the right to make that choice? So,
There's a woman doctor I've noticed. Sorry, I'm choking on my own spit. She, I guess she's so frustrated with dealing with insurance companies that she sits in her car with her phone and makes little short videos. And they, for some reason, popped up on my phone. I don't know why. And she talks about, I had a call today and this is how the conversation went. And it's the theater of the absurd. It's craziness. There's no reason other than greed and trying to keep the most money in their fists. That's obviously the
yeah,
motivation, but there's a complete lack of concern or compassion. There's a lack of logic. It's stunning because you can see how people, the doctor, who are trying so hard to help their patients, have no recourse. They're completely powerless. And who's making these decisions? Some guy in some office in the top of a tower making,
he was looking at
seven
spreadsheets and how much
seven
money.
figure. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
A month before I went into labor with my son, uh, my husband could not stand up straight. His back was so bad. He literally was bent over double. And the insurance company, workers' comp insurance company, had been jacking us around and jacking us around on getting his checks out to him weekly. Sometimes they'd go 2 or 3 weeks and we wouldn't get anything at all. And then they'd send a couple of checks, but they never like got caught up or anything. And here I was getting ready. We knew within the next month and a half, I'm getting ready to have a baby and no money and, blah, blah, blah. And the the head office for this company was in Baton Rouge on the other side of the Chapalaya. So my mother loaned us her car and we drove to Baton Rouge because he was like, I've had enough of their shit. I'm going to go in there and demand my money. I want my goddamn money. I want it right now. Well, he showed up in the middle of their lunch break. So there was,
Did you go too?
I was in the car.
Oh, you should have gone out with him.
He wouldn't let me go in with him because he said that way if he got arrested, at least I would still be able to go bail him out. That was his.
Oh, okay. Well, that makes sense. Okay.
Um, he went inside. People had just kind of broke for lunch, so there was only the little receptionist there in the front and whatnot. You know, her little desk out front. And he walked in, and he was like, you know, he was at that point he was raising hell from the minute he walked in the door. Bent over double. He couldn't stand up straight. He was like, I want my money. I want it now. They're 4 weeks behind. They owe me 4 checks just from last week. That's not even counting this week's check. That's due tomorrow. I want my money now. And she was like, I'm sorry, sir. You know, everybody's gone to lunch. And he's like, okay, well, I'll just wait. And he proceeded to just lay down on the top of her desk. Laid flat on the top of her desk. He just laid there. He says, I'm just going to wait right here till somebody gets here. Well, this little girl flipped out. She went running to another desk and started making phone calls, right? And about probably 10 or 15 minutes later, some head honcho upstairs comes downstairs trying to talk to my husband. My husband's like, I want my money and I want it now. Well, now by this point, lunch was over. People were coming back into the office as well as customers. And here's my husband laid out on the front receptionist's desk, just laid out flat.
Demanding his money.
In his torn blue jeans and his dirty flannel shirt. And he was like, at top was like, I want my fucking money and I want it now. You already owe me 4 weeks back pay. I got another one due tomorrow and another one due next week. And my wife's getting ready to have a baby. And what am I supposed to do to enable her to take care of our child when I'm stuck in the hospital? He says, I had to get special permission to get released on a 24-hour pass to come here to get my damn money. I mean, he was loud. When he got pissed, he would get loud and he didn't care who heard him. Top of his lungs loud. And I want my money. I want it right now.
Did they call the police?
No, they didn't. Some accountant person come from upstairs and they literally wrote him checks right there at the front desk. He walked out with, I think, 6 or 7 checks in hand. And he was like, I probably could have emptied their wallets too if I thought about it.
Because nowadays, you know what had happened? They'd call security, and if you didn't cooperate, you'd be in jail.
Yeah. Yeah. We were lucky
that
happened. And we were lucky that didn't happen. But that was back in, that happened in like January of '84.
Well, nowadays you wouldn't even be able to get in the building.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But back then he just went hobbled his way right on in and then proceeded to lay down on the front receptionist's desk.
I think that's brilliant.
Shit went everywhere. He's like, I don't care. I'm not leaving until I get my money.
That's brilliant.
And every new customer or somebody that walked in the door, he would start it over again. I want my goddamn money. I want it now. You owe me.
So did they forever after that? Did they send his checks on time after that?
Yeah, for about a year, and then they started up again, and we wound up making another trip to Baton Rouge. And the minute he walked in the door, they were like at the desk writing them checks. And right, Mr. Eagle. They recognized him at that point because he
they had a picture of him hanging in the office. Wanted.
Yeah, that was a trip. I'll never forget that because he came out with the stuff. I was like, I was just getting ready to go in and get you. He was like, he said, I kept waiting for the police to show up.
Yeah.
He's
So,
been living
so
in
let me
James,
take a wild guess. Your first stop was the bank to make sure they didn't stop payment on the checks.
No, we couldn't cash them until we got back home
Oh,
because they weren't a regular check. They were like a
cashier's checks or something.
yeah, you had to take it. We had to take it to a special place to get cash.
Yeah, of
And
course. Yeah.
and so then on the way back home, slung a rod in the car that we were driving, and we were stuck on the side of the road with me very pregnant with my son, and it was freezing ass cold. And I'm like, I just got out of the car, just stood at the back of the car, and I just stood there like, maybe somebody will stop. And eventually, this some good old boy in his pickup truck come cruising up, and he pulls up and, can I help you? And I started telling him what was going on. I'm pregnant. My husband's he's like, oh, well, let's get y'all in the truck and I'll just take you on into town and take you where you need to go and blah, blah, blah. He like ran us all over town to go get our checks taken care of.
This
We
was
tried to
this was
pay
in the
for
days.
gas. He wouldn't take money for gas. We tried to buy him lunch. He wouldn't hear of it. And
These were the days before Dateline, because I wouldn't get in a car with anybody after watching Dateline.
I mean, it was like he could have been a serial killer for all
That's
we
what
know.
I'm saying. Yeah.
And I was like, he saw some pregnant woman standing
Yeah.
at the back of her car on the side of I-10. And thank God we had just come off the Chapelai Basin Bridge. And so we had cleared the bridge. I'd hate to think of it had happened while we were on the bridge.
Oh, yeah.
And,
Yeah. We're back to that again. Bridges over water. No, thank you. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, the Chapelai Basin Bridge is 18 miles long.
Yeah. There's something wrong
And
with things down there.
there's no off or on. You're on that bridge, and if something happens on that bridge, you're stuck like Chuck until they get it cleared. You're not going nowhere. There's nowhere to go but into the swamp, and so yeah. And that was before the new bridge was built. It was still the old bridge. It was
my God.
It was 2 lane, so yeah.
Yeah, I can't. I can't. Sherry, I hate to tell you this, but I have to go.
Yeah, I do too. I got to go get ready for the other thing.
I know you do. I know.
And I need to go pee.
Well, that was fun. That was a fun conversation.
It was fun. Thank you, everybody. I'm sorry I ignored y'all in chat. Y'all know me. I start talking and I'm gone. I can't shut up. Oh my goodness! Thank everybody for coming and
yes, thank you.
It was very last minute. What was it, like a couple of days ago? You were like,
and it was really obvious that we had planned conversation.
Yeah, just we went from storms to
oh my God.
air.
Kind of a common theme of water.
Those are going to be our 2 biggest issues going into this year.
Storms?
Storms and healthcare.
Well, I think it's going to be
more wildfires.
I think we're going to be
earthquakes.
Incredible loss of incredible loss of personal rights.
A lot of flooding. A lot of tornado damage. I keep seeing even bigger and stronger tornadoes. I mean, they now have a Cat 6 hurricane. We've not been hit by one yet. But the last couple of big ones we had in the last couple of years got that close. Like within a couple of miles an hour from being a Cat 6. So.
Well, as far as affecting the whole country, I'm much more worried about the destruction of democracy, and it's very far along the way. I don't think people fully understand. I don't know when you're putting this up, but on New Year's Day, I'm putting up a serious set of predictions, and it's like I told Sherry, I'm not Nostradamus. With me, it's intuitive understanding of what's coming up. I don't predict earthquakes and stuff. Occasionally I'll have a dream.
I don't predict stuff either, but you
just know. Yeah.
I just got that sick bottom of the stomach kind of feeling.
Right. Well, like I
It's gonna
told
be
you
bad.
last year, I made predictions against my better judgment, and I got a lot of negative pushback, and they all came
And
true.
everything you said came true.
Everything I said came true, and it was ridiculous, the things I said. And I knew how extreme it sounded when it came out of my mouth. I knew that. And I knew people were not going to be happy. Well, brace yourselves. Having said that, I have to go. Happy New Year, everybody. I feel like Pollyanna. Happy
Like
New
I keep
Year.
telling everybody, it's gonna get worse before it gets better. It is going to get better.
Yep.
It's not going to be
Yep.
by 2 o'clock tomorrow. And
No.
there's going to be a lot of really bad crap that's going to hit us before it gets better. So we have to just hang on. We have to hold on to our faith and our hope that it will get better. We have to be prepared to
That's right.
help our neighbor because there ain't going to be nobody else to help them. And you sure as hell want them to come help you when you need it. And
We each hold a spark of the divine, and we're all united by
right,
that
yeah,
similarity. And we aren't our bodies. And if we can just remember that, we'll be fine. But that's not a
yeah,
guarantee that there won't be things happening. It's a guarantee that long term, everything will be fine.
yeah,
That's 100% guaranteed. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. It's just
Of
going to
course,
take.
when you're our age, that's kind of
And
meaningless.
and I mean, and even once the political situation hopefully gets straightened out in the next few years, it's not going to be fixed the day after they get elected or sworn in. We're talking years before a lot of this damage is going to be able to be repaired. It may
I
even be
could go on for 4 more hours.
a
I'm
couple
not
of
going to start. I
generations.
don't even get me started because,
Yeah.
you know. Thank you, Sherry. Happy
Thank you,
2026.
Helen.
Thanks. Thanks.
All
There's
right, y'all have a happy new year. You'll see me again because I got stuff Wednesday and Thursday, and I don't know. I'm doing a live with Linda G tomorrow morning or tomorrow afternoon, my time, morning her time, um, which was very last minute. I just shot her an email and said, "Hey, are you doing anything on Monday or Tuesday? I'm on vacation. You want to do a show?" And she emailed me back and said, "Sure." And I'm like, "Yay!" So, and I've got some Judy's Healing Fire. I don't know if you've seen her. She's fairly um she's doing a thing Christmas Eve, like a rolling uh ringing in midnight, like starting on the East Coast an hour before midnight, and then people will join or drop off as we go through the time zones for everybody to hit midnight for New Year's Eve, and then Colleen's doing something New Year's Day, and I don't know. I'm just like, okay, sign me up. I'll be there. I don't know what I'm doing, but I'll be there.
well, stay tuned for my predictions if anybody cares. I don't know. I'm putting
I'll
them
be
up, I
watching
think,
them.
on the first, I
I'll
think.
share them. So yeah,
Thanks. Thanks.
and
Thanks, Sherry.
you're
And
welcome, Helen.
behave yourself on New Year's Eve.
Yeah, I'll,
Okay.
I'll do my best.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye, everybody. Y'all have a good evening.